I'm so excited for yet another epic Rebel Radio conversation with my dear friend and colleague and client, Shannon Kerr. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here today.
Hi.
So, you're also a quantum numerologist and obsessed with the numbers, just like I am. So, I'm
Yep.
curious, what has been one of your biggest takeaways from understanding your numerology?
I am a ruling 10, and that I actually, when I first learned that, I didn't like it, because because it is very much who I am. I'm always coming up with new ideas, and at first it was like, "Oh, so that means I'm always gonna be like, this is how I am." But now it's it's given me a lot of peace of mind because it is who I am. Like, it's okay to acknowledge that I love coming up with new ideas, and it's also it taught me a little more focus to, it's okay to finish one idea and see it to its close before jumping onto the new idea.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
love that. Yeah, and to me, I feel like the 10 is just constantly in change because you're always improving with the innovative ideas, right? So it's not necessarily a whole bunch of ideas, but it's maybe one idea that you're changing and making better and becoming more innovative about it. And yeah, I love that. And I love that you say you used to be in resistance to it because I think a lot of us are. When we hear our number, we're like, oh, yeah, but.
Yeah, that is me. Crap.
I know I was that way when I found out about my ruling number. Being a four, I'm like, oh yeah, I do carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. I do
Mhm.
feel responsible for everyone and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
And it also like I'm the youngest of 4 children, and I have spent my whole life being compared to my siblings. And
Mhm.
so this learning, my number's different from all my siblings. And so it makes so much sense that I am nothing like them and I am following a completely different trajectory than all of them. And that, yeah, again, a whole bunch of peace of mind.
Full permission to be you. I love
Yeah.
it. I love
Yeah.
it. So tell us a little bit about who Shannon is, what you do, who you're here to serve.
Well, it's ever changing, of course, but I I am a mom and I mainly work with moms these days, but a little bit of everybody. I am an EFT practitioner as well as a numerologist. So I really love to use these tools to help moms regain their sense of self.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Moms need that so much, don't they?
Yeah,
Uh,
so many of us, as soon as we become moms, we kind of forget who we were before that.
yeah.
And so tapping to help release those shoulds and those self-judgments and the mom guilt, and then the numerology to really help them understand who they are now and what is coming up for them in the future.
Ah, I love that. Setting moms free.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. Every mom deserves to be free. I'm not a mother, but I've been a stepmom. I've had a taste of it. And yeah, mothers need to feel free.
Yeah, I asked my mom's last or this week, what did you think about? Like, what was running through your head before children, you know?
Mm, mhm.
And and a lot of it that came up was myself. Like, there was just this realization that I used to actually think about what I liked to do and all these things that, the kids and all the mental overload comes in and
Mhm.
you stop thinking about how you actually want to live your life.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh. So, what do you desire most in life?
For myself, it's, well, a lot of that freedom again,
Yeah.
freedom to really feel a peace within and a confident sense of self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. I want that for everybody. I think that would be
Yeah, I mean, I start with myself, like
yeah,
giving myself permission
yeah,
to be who I am, and then the next step out is my children,
yeah.
empowering them to be who they are. Um, a little side note that my eldest, my teenager, I have a teenager and a 6-year-old,
Mhm.
and my teenager during quarantine came out as non-binary, and so
Mm.
having these skills that I have to be able to tap into emotional freedom and understand that other people's opinions have nothing to do with me. I've been
Mm.
able to teach that to my teens so that it it really smoothed out the process for
Oh,
yeah.
that's so powerful to be able to do that and to support your children. And oh, it makes the world a better place. Which leads me to my next question about unity consciousness. Unity consciousness is a term that's relatively new in, the social media space, and I feel like it means something different to everyone. And you've come through Mindshift, you're a Mindshift graduate, which is all about unity consciousness. I'm really curious, what does unity consciousness mean to you?
Um, I think it's really just that understanding that we are so much more than what's happening, in this body, in this physical space. And that the energy that I am generating is creating an impact elsewhere. Um, so it rather than feeling selfish about trying, to practice self-care and to feel good about myself, it is actually a positive shift that spreads throughout the community and throughout the world.
Ah, yes, I love that so much because when we do take care of ourselves, we're being of the utmost service to the world because
Mhm.
we're creating our own reality. And if we're taking care of ourselves and loving ourselves, we just mirror that out to the world around us and we become this lighthouse, and other people can see, oh, I could do that too. So good.
Yeah.
Love that. I love that. So, I mean, we touched on a few things with numerology and tapping, but I'm curious, what kind of rituals or habits do you have in place that help you stay devoted to unity consciousness?
Um, it's kind of scattered throughout my day, compared to a, a single person who can have a more rigid routine.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee that I'm going to have X number of hours to devote to my self care. So I do always journal every day,
Mhm.
and tapping to go along with that to notice how I'm feeling and how I do want to feel, and
Mhm.
noticing what kind of stories are coming up for that. Pulling cards for myself to see is what is coming um, from source, the guidance to see how I can gain some clarity around the challenges and the strengths that I have to draw from.
Yeah.
Um, and some of that is often interrupted and joined by my children. So that's been a beautiful process where I used to be like, oh, they're interrupting and I can't focus. Where now it's like my youngest will come in like, Mom, can I pull an oracle card too? I'm like, sure. Like it's normalized it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they all have their own journals and they'll come and sit, and if I really want to listen to something, I'll put my headphones on. But yeah, it's it's taken self-care practice and made it more of a family event. So,
Oh, I love
yeah.
that so much, to bring your kids into your rituals. That's so good. Yeah. What better way to set them up for success, to include them in what you're doing? I
Yeah.
love that. That's so powerful. So, as an entrepreneur, as somebody, you're a healer and a coach and a spiritual teacher, I'm curious how you see business evolving with your desire for unity consciousness. So, old ways of doing business don't necessarily work anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My personal business, over the last year, 2 years, it's completely transitioned into something that I never imagined I would be doing. Um,
Mhm.
you know, tapping with clients in Australia and England and the States, being here in Canada, that's pretty amazing. And again, it's building that community for moms so they have more to draw from.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, with Unity Consciousness, I think that's a big part of it too, is creating a place where moms really feel like they get that support, and we're starting to drop the judgment because there's a lot of fear in there of, am I doing it right? And is someone going to judge me for my choices and my decisions? And that's a big part of what I do is, teaching moms how to develop their own self-confidence again so that they can choose what feels good for their families.
Oh, I love that so much. Such powerful work you're doing in the world. Thank you. It's so good. So, how do you think that we can? Well, let's talk about moms. How do you think that
Mm,
moms can let go of some of the old patterns that they have and invite in a completely new way of creating impact in their family with their kids?
mm. Um, well, it's the first thing is awareness.
Yeah,
Um,
I say that all the time. Awareness is everything.
I mean, we say this so often in Mind Shift and everywhere else, but it's so true
Yeah.
that once you get out of just living in reactive mode and start noticing what you're reacting to, um, for moms, your child's behavior is not a reflection on you; it's just their behavior, and very often if it's a trigger for you, that's something to get curious about. And it might be an
Mhm.
old story from your youth of
Mhm.
what you believe about what children should be or what moms should be or any of those fears and limiting beliefs. And also noticing that that behavior is your child's effort to communicate. They're not
Mm.
they're not trying to be bad.
Right.
I really believe that there is no such thing as a bad child or a bad person. It's just the only way they know how to communicate in that moment. And
Mm.
so, yeah, it's an invitation to get curious about what is behind that behavior.
Yeah, I love that reframe because yeah, I mean humans are generally good people
Yeah.
until we're not sure how to communicate something or there's that judgment or blame or shame coming up and then we lash out because we don't know how else to handle it. So, yeah, and especially as kids, I can see that. I love that reframe. That's a beautiful thing. Thank you. So, you and I have had numerous conversations around wealth and money.
Yeah.
And wealth is also one of those terms that we all have a different definition for. So, how do you define wealth?
The biggest thing that comes to mind for me with wealth is the freedom to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, freedom to choose where I wanna be, how I wanna be, who I wanna help, and yeah, never having that sensation of, "I can't do that because."
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. The worst phrase ever. I can't afford that.
Mhm.
It feels so painful just to say it. And I've always invited people to reframe to it's not a priority right now rather than I can't afford it. But still, having that wealth flowing through everything you do gives you the ability to choose.
Yeah.
Right? I love that so much. Yeah. So good. So, as an entrepreneur, this is where my guests always love this because I narrow it down to one thing, Shannon, just one thing. What what's one thing that you wish every entrepreneur knew?
Oh,
Every time. Because there's like 52
I
million.
know, 52 million things. One thing that they have enough time.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yes. That is the one thing with my clients that we work on all the time is because it feels like there's 42 million things to do. And all you have to do is the what's next. That's it.
Mhm.
And you always have time to get it done. Always. Time's irrelevant anyways. It doesn't exist, but we won't get into that.
Yeah. That's another conversation.
I'm sure all the moms that are listening out there is like, this woman who's not a mother of Cindy is crazy. You're saying time doesn't exist. Time exists when you have kids.
But yeah, at the same time, it doesn't. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, share with us one thing that you've discovered about yourself along this journey that's helped you to grow as an entrepreneur.
Um, I guess that I am capable of way more than I originally thought.
Yeah.
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 Going back to that 10ness and where I thought originally, like I've had so many careers in my life, and I used to see that as a bad thing, like, oh, why can't I stick to one thing? And now I'm 46, and the things that I have picked up through my life and the skills and even the people, like I have just amazing connections with people from all my different careers. It's a blessing, um, because I have developed these skills and connections throughout my life. So, yeah, I
So
think we're
good.
all capable of way more than we imagine.
So good. Yes. Quote of the day right there. I love it. I love it. Shannon, I want to thank you for being on the show. I always love our conversations so much.
Oh, this
But
was fun.
as always, we end the show with one last question. What do you dream of for the world?
The thing that's popping in my head is a freedom from judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would solve all the world's problems, wouldn't it?
it would go a really, really, really long way. Yeah.
Yeah. Freedom from judgment. I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.